objections and the two main problems, the way that I saw fit to target them was the legislation. The legislation in Israel defines a dog in two manners. Either it has an owner, either it's supposed to be in a kennel somewhere. Otherwise, it should be observed according to the law, several number of days, rabies yes, no, gonna stay there, budget issue, cool, not cool. Because the law doesn't allow the frame for a dog to be a dog.
Right.
And that's a big issue. The other issue that I found to be a problem, especially when you're raising the issue of TNR, is you need to address the fact that the veterinarians themselves, with focusing on the welfare issue, a lot of them will object to TNR.
Right.
They object because how can you release an animal post-surgery, let's say even 3 days or whatever, and decide that it's okay, that it's not suffering. Many of them will say, is it fair even to do that?
Right.
And basically the pilot program in the army was shut down because of welfare issues. We couldn't come to an agreement.
Okay.
And the responsibility issue, because if you do the TNR according to the law, you have to chip them.
Right.
The owner, who's responsible legally.
Would you like to answer that? Talk about what you saw in India and why do crazy Indians sterilize, spay, neuter, and put their dogs back on the street? I mean, is there a logic to it?
In India, they did like we do with cats today.
Yeah.
We catch the cats, we neuter the cats, we release them back on the street. We did the same with the dogs. We kind of manage them like they were a population of cats. If the
Right.
cats can live on the street, the dogs can live on the street. They've been living there forever, so now they're spayed and neutered and
Yeah, but do you think there was a welfare, did the dog's welfare change before spay and neuter, or was there any difference in the dog's behavior, or, I mean, what I mean to say
they
is,
behave just the same as any other dog after being spayed and neutered. If they had any kind of problem, they stayed for a day or two. If they had parasites, they got whatever they needed for their parasites, but
Right.
they didn't stay there for very long.
right,
It wasn't equipped to deal with a chronic disease
Right.
or something very, I don't know, something very severe. If he had a wound, he got some kind of spray or
Right.
antibiotic for 48 hours. They did the minimum that they had to do. It wasn't built with we didn't spay in a hospital, we spayed in a house that was equipped for that purpose.
right,
In a month or two, they closed the operation and they moved to another city. So they
Correct.
did whatever they could in a low budget thing.
Right.
We had very low budget anesthesia and very low budget equipment, and they did. But I think at the end of the day, they still improved the life quality of these dogs.
right,
Like we do with cats. We do
Right.
with cats, and no one asked, can they be put back on the street or should we keep them at home?
Right.
We do it, we neuter them, and we put them back where they belong. If
right,
they have a problem, if we're equipped, we keep them, we hospitalize them, we do whatever we can for them, but at the end of the day, they still go back to where they were.
right,
We usually only bring them back if they have like a good feeder that takes care of them and everything. We don't usually just release them on the street. And
Right.
obviously we're obligated to bring them exactly where we took it from, so they know where they have their food and how to manage to themselves. But
Right.
we did it the same with dogs in India, and we seem to be doing okay with it.
So, can anyone answer that if you are left in the middle of a desert, are you likely to find a dog in the middle of a desert?
Yes, in Israel, yes.
Okay, that's dumped dog.
No, we have.
Okay, or that is wild dog. Okay, so that was a wrong question to ask. Okay, so when you climb the Mount Everest and you are on the peak of it, would you find a dog there? No? Or when you go to an isolated island where nobody has ever been, are you likely to see a dog on the beach wagging its tail and welcoming you? No. Why?
We see an Israeli there.
Why is because dogs and cats are called companion animals. They are always found where human habitation is found, because they are dependent not only on the relationship with humans, the love and affection or hatred or whatever, but they thrive and survive purely on the resources that are generated by the human habitation. What I'm trying to say is that the dog problem is a direct result of human problem. Okay, my next slide is going to talk about that, where we are going to change the way you think about dogs. A dog in India will breed once a year, right? It will have puppies once a year, between 5 to 8 puppies once a year. This is another thing, most people think dogs breed twice a year. Everyone said that. I used to say that 10 years ago. Yeah? But when we started doing research and when we started doing studies, we found that dogs usually, at least in the city that we did the research on, which represents a major part of India, dogs will breed once a year. They cannot breed twice a year. The resources do not allow them to breed twice a year and have maximum survivability of their puppies. Yeah. I'll show you that slide and I'll prove you why also. But what I'm going to try and prove is what the change that I have gone through. Earlier, when I used to make presentations and talk to people, the only tool I had was spay and neuter, as if it was a weapon that is going to solve all your problem. Now I say no. Spay and neuter on its own is useless. Spay and neuter on its own will not be able to give you the results that you need. Spay and neuter is a great weapon, but you have to create the grounds which will allow it to function really, really well. Okay?
One last question?
Yes.
Did you ever fail? And why?
So I am what I am because of all my failures. It's not because of my successes at all.
But what's the main reason usually when you go into a country and you fail?
I actually have a, do you want to see a presentation of my failures? I have created a presentation purely of my failures. I'll show it to you. So let's talk about that. Can I take a 2-minute break if you guys don't mind? And we'll start with that. So when we are sharing, it's a casual atmosphere. I'll show you a presentation which I made about 5 years ago of only my failures and what I learned from it. And then we will move on to what are the different tools, and you will feel very empowered with what you will see is that I will prove to you that it is not the dog's fault, because the dog in India is the same as a dog in America and the same as a dog in Israel. It is the people in India who like dogs being on a street, the people in America who don't like dogs being on a street, and people in Israel who can't decide what to do with the dog on the street. That decides the dog's fate. Yeah. So our focus has been wrong. You are all converts already, but our focus has been wrong. We are trying to find all the money for spay and neuter, but we are not running and investing our money in the right area that we all need to. We consider it to be something that we are quite dismissive about it, but trust me, that is the key to solution of the entire problem of the dog population across the world. So 2 minutes and we'll all gather again. Thank you.